Hey guys, I'm here to talk to you about secondary sources, and you are watching this video because it's an assignment, but also because we didn't get to talk about secondary sources you want to find in class. We've spent most of our time this week as we've dissected how essay number 3 will work, how it does work, looking at ideas for the dog food essay. We came up with that outline in class, and we speculated about kinds of information that we might research together that day, that we outlined what we could do if we were writing a response essay on that piece of writing in the textbook. And then today we looked at the example of the movie review of it. The movie review, again, is a kind of response essay. Excuse me. And we looked for where that writer was using secondary sources. So we didn't get to make the jump to, or the connection to, what kinds of sources will you look for. So I'm going to pretend that I'm writing my response essay on that Farhad Manjoo essay about the dogs that you guys remember we used a whole lot when we were summarizing and paraphrasing and doing all that practice in class. And you guys are using the same source that you've summarized and paraphrased for essay number 3, so I thought this would be a nice connection for you to see that I'm using the same one as well. And what I did was, you see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tabs that I'm going to show you. And I've made a list over here of the kinds of sources. So let me use my list, and then I'll click on the appropriate tab, and you'll get to see the kinds of research that you might want to try to find over the weekend. And remember, your goal after watching this video is to then do some research of your own on the source that you're using for essay number 3 from the textbook, whether it's the Malcolm X story about the hair treatment that he does, the peaceful one, carries a gun one, the lies one, what's the other one? The Brent Staples one about being a black man in today's society. And then what was the other one? Oh, the Inked Well one. So no matter which one you're doing, I want you to take what I'm talking to you about in this video and apply the kinds of sources that you might look for this kind of essay. And again, you're looking for a secondary source. You see, you see that the top of my document says types of secondary sources you might look for. And I'm thinking specifically about essay number 3 right now. All right, so the first thing that I looked up was, I thought maybe I could find some information about Farhad Manjoo himself. And I might be able to find some biographical information about his life, or I might be able to find some professional information. So I did a search, and I found this, and this is mostly professional information. And I'm not going to dig anymore for biographical information, because it doesn't matter. Like, it's not relevant to me in the way that I think I want to write about his essay. I think I'll probably have a favorable response, mostly things that I liked. And so I'm interested to know what kind of writing he's doing now, what are the kinds of things he's written. So I found this New York Times profile page. He's a writer for the New York Times. He does the State of the Art column, which is super weird because his essay was sort of a humorous, playful, even felt sort of blog-like. It didn't really feel like a newspaper article. So now he's writing articles. As you just kind of scroll down, this page gives a history of some of the articles he's published, and, you know, even lately. I mean, he had something published on Monday, it looks like. I'm sorry, on Wednesday. So, you know, he's doing mostly business stuff now, and he's doing technology. And so I think this is an interesting thing, that when he worked for Slate, so I went and found the original source. Oh, it's right here. I went and found the original source that was published on the Slate website. He's writing, I see up here, he's writing for the Department of Complaints for Slate. So this is more of a blog situation. So this is an interesting find for me. I might be able to use this secondary source information in my essay somehow. Because if he was writing for a blog, less formal than the writing he's doing for the New York Times, the page I was just looking at, this says a lot to me about the style of the essay, his breadth as a writer. So lots of things that I might, excuse me, be able to use in my essay if I use this as a source. So I found the original, and it was indeed published on a blog-like website for a Slate magazine. So that was number 3. I didn't stay in order here, but that was number 3, that I find the original article and just kind of examine the website. You know what I'm going to do? Find the original article, and I'm going to add here, examine the website to see if it tells you anything about the way that article was written. All right, my dog is whining at me right now. He's down here on my left, and he's mad at me because I've been sitting at my computer for over an hour. So I have to hurry up and get this video done because I don't want him to whine anymore. All right, so then the other thing I thought I would do while I was at the Slate website was I clicked on this little link here, which took me to a different page, and I'm getting Slate writer and member comments. So as you know, online, when people post articles, when writers post articles, people have the ability to leave comments. And this is done all the time and probably will be done for a long time to come. And so I could read through some of these. I remember your guys' reaction in class when we read this dog essay, and some of you were like, oh, how dare this guy? How can he hate dogs? What's wrong with him? And I'm sure there are some responses like that in here. I might also find some responses from people who have similar opinions. So if I feel like adding in a comment from any readers or reviewers of the article that I think might tie into the way I want to present my take on the essay or my response to the essay, or if I want to do the opposite, if I want to find somebody's differing opinion from mine, I might be able to do that. You guys remember I mentioned counter arguments in class today. So you could use comments from the website where the article was originally published and maybe look for some ideas that you could pull in from other reviewers that are similar to yours or opposite. It doesn't really matter which way you want to go with that. That's up to you. So those are so far 1. Look for information about the author. We skipped number 2 and went to 3 and number 4. Finding the original article and then finding comments left after the original article was published. Let's go back to number 2. I thought about the fact that I'm not really sure what some of the laws are related to dogs in public. And I'm sure that that's city-specific, township-specific, county-specific, state-specific, right? So you would have to do some more specific information about a specific locality to find out laws that you might want to report on, or a couple of different laws. I know that for me moving to Colorado, that one of the things I noticed right away was how pet-friendly Boulder was. So you might be able to do some research on Boulder to find out what their ordinances or laws are about pets in public. But that's what I have here for number 2, that maybe I could find some information on the topic itself, which is pets in public. And so I listed some different things that I might look up. As I already said, the laws or ordinances, places for owner and dog to work out together, information about pet-friendly cities, or even pet-hating cities. And so you guys will see that the first tab, and I didn't click on any of these links, I just thought I would show you what I found. I just searched for dogs in public places, and then I found this website, which is a government website. I'm not sure which government website this is, and I haven't clicked on it to check it out, but you know, there's something about here about dogs must be under control by the person at all times, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like thinking about ways that I might be able to use a source like that. If I disagree with the majority of the class and agree with the writer that I think pets shouldn't be in public so often, I might be able to use this kind of source to help not only back up my own position that I think dogs should have free reign over all of our public places, because I'm agreeing with the author, but then I'm also kind of backing up the author too. So I can use a secondary source like that. And there's some other stuff here, like a survey about where dogs should be allowed, to see how many people think dogs should be able to just go wherever they want with their owners. So many possibilities here for me to use. Excuse me, I've been coughing because I've been talking all day. Last 2, I could look up definitions or terms. That shouldn't be Oh yeah, definitions of terms related to the genre of the writing. If I wanted to, and since I suspect now that the original article that I showed you earlier was a blog, I could do a little research into the rules for blog writing, the conventions for blog writing, and see if I apply those rules or conventions to Farhad Manjoo's writing in our textbook, if the blog meets those standards. So I could do something like that. I didn't look for any secondary sources related to that. I just kind of listed that as an example. And then also I found, I thought about another secondary source I could look at was approaches used by different kinds of writers. So what I mean by that is I wondered if there were any other articles related to dogs in public, and maybe I could find some articles like that. I didn't do that research yet either, but maybe I could go find some articles like that and see what those authors did, those writers did to talk about the same topic, and see how their approach to the topic was different than Farhad Manjoo's, and maybe more effective or more ineffective, and maybe I could do a comparison there. And then the other tab that I think I skipped over and I just clicked on was this one. And I think it relates more back to number 2, and I forgot to click on it, so sorry, I'm bouncing back to this one. But if I wanted to find information about the topic itself, to either agree or disagree with Farhad Manjoo, because I want to make that point in my response essay, maybe that I agree or I disagree with him, because, you know, there's many different readers in the world and we can have different points of view, whatever I'm trying to say in my essay. But I found this source that has, you know, websites for pet-friendly fitness classes and working out with your dog at a gym, which is kind of funny. Let's see some other ones. Canine camps, clubs, and fitness centers, probably more for dogs themselves, not the dog and the owner working out together. But I was also thinking when I found these websites that when we came to Colorado, I noticed so many more dog parks here than where we used to live. And so it depends on the region of the country that you live in, or even the city you live near. And so it might be interesting for me to see if I can find out. And it might be impossible to find out, but I wonder where Farhad Manjoo was when he got the idea for this article. Where was he living when he was at the gym and this dog was there, that, you know, and it sparked this idea for him that he wanted to write this blog for Slate Magazine. And, you know, it might be interesting to add maybe a small critique that Farhad Manjoo could have added information about places people can live if they really want to live in a place where most people are okay seeing pets in public. I mean, I'm just thinking of random ideas that I could add into my response essay about this essay that I have to respond to. It's my assignment. But I'm also, at this point, since I'm doing research, I don't want to limit myself. I want to find the best secondary source, the one that's going to make me the most pleased to use. And so you guys might just find one that you think will fit, but I'm trying to still weigh my options about what information I want to use inside my essay. So don't forget for Tuesday's class to tongue-tied, please bring 2 printouts. Bring 2 possible sources. I don't want you to narrow your options too much and just have one. I want you to have 2 different sources. So you see, I have many to choose from. So I'm going to go through the ones that I looked at and print off 2. And so bring those printouts of your 2 possible secondary sources to class on Tuesday, and we will do some work with them in class. All right, if you guys have any questions about secondary sources, please feel free to email me, and have a great weekend.